morning. Welcome to Hobby Evolution, episode 1387. Happy Friday. Welcome to Hobby Evolution. It is the eve of the Madison Card Show, which is tomorrow. Sheraton Hotel, John Nolan Drive. Hope to see you there. 140 sold out dealer tables. Free admission, show hours 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. tomorrow. Sheraton Hotel, John Nolan Drive. Do have, if you are planning on coming to the Madison Card Show tomorrow, could be some parking, could be a parking issue, although almost on a monthly basis, we have a full parking lot pretty much every month. Even last month, they were at the hotel was at 8% capacity, and dealers and customers filled all of the parking lot for the most part. And that was with basically an empty hotel. It's going to be a full hotel this weekend. So for the first time, shout out to the Sheraton for coming up with somewhat of a solution for the parking situation that can arise at times. There's a big event in town apparently. So parking lot's going to be one of those months. Next month is going to be similar. The dog show will be going on at the same time in February, which we've experienced that the last couple of years. We've run the show the same weekend as the dog show. So Sheraton has stepped up and said, it's going to be, parking's going to be tight this month. There is a giant parking lot across the street at the Alliant Energy Center. The problem is you do have to pay $8 to park in the Alliant Energy parking lot. But the Sheraton, free of charge, will be holding a shuttle. So they'll be shuttling back and forth. So the downside is you have to pay $8 to park if you can't find a parking spot. I just want a lot of confusion. This doesn't mean you have to park at the Alliant Energy Center. You don't have to. If there's a parking spot at the Sheraton, awesome. But if there's not, there's an alternative. We haven't offered an alternative before. So this is out of the graciousness of the Sheraton's hearts. So they will be running a shuttle, providing shuttle service back and forth so you don't have to walk in the cold. So that's tomorrow at the Sheraton Hotel, John Nolan Drive, Madison Card Show. If you've been to the Madison Card Show, you understand parking can be tough to come by. So this is an alternative. I understand you may not want to pay $8. That's okay. Hopefully you can find a parking spot. I know I'm not going to say I don't want to get in trouble, but there have been people in the past that have found parking spots not in the Sheraton that are free, but I'm not going to advertise where they found those. You just have to do a little sleuthing on your own because I don't want to get in trouble for telling people to park somewhere they probably shouldn't be. But hey, if you get by with it, if you get around it, good for you. So that's an alternative for tomorrow's show if parking is hard to come by. And if you don't want to pay $8, I understand. But remember, the Madison Card Show is free admission. So you don't have to, and there's no tolls in Wisconsin. So it's not like paying $50 just to walk in the door, the Rosemont, if you're driving in from Wisconsin with all the tolls and the $15 parking down there. So just remember, free admission, Madison Card Show. So 1 month, you have to pay $8. So be it, I guess. But I understand if you don't want to pay. So that's tomorrow, Madison Card Show, Sheraton Hotel, John Nolan Drive. I'm looking forward to it. Just doing some week of the show. There's always a lot of juggling. I've got people, can I get an extra table? Can I get a spot over here? I can't make it this weekend. So there's a lot of juggling. And so I think I've got one person with car trouble who's going to follow up with me today. And basically it's kind of like, and then I got another guy in the same room. He wants to switch spots. And then a guy that I have in one of those spots wants an extra table. So it might work out. So fingers crossed, if all things fall into place, if one guy's card isn't going to be ready, hey, I can get you that third table and I can move you over here and I can move this guy over there. and it's all is well in the world. So those are the types of things that you have to do, and that's why I've wanted to do, and I love apps. Cubs Convention app is freaking awesome. How awesome would it be to have a card show app? But putting it into play is another, and it kind of goes in line with, we want all Pokemon dealers here and we want all sports dealers here. Well, that's on paper, that sounds like a great idea. All vintage. I want all vintage here. On paper, that sounds awesome. But in practice and in reality, it's just not the case. You have people, well, I can't make it. If a vintage guy can't make it, I may not have another vintage. Vintage dealers are not easy to find. So if a vintage dealer falls out, it's like, well, here's a Pokemon guy, or here's a ultra modern guy, and it just ruins your whole plan. Plus, vintage guys may not want to be next to each other. Well, he's selling the same stuff I'm selling. Well, have a little price war. Your customers will benefit. So that's why I'm anti putting people in different spots. But an app, I'd love to have an app where it's got the map. I want to go see East Coast Tom. Where's East Coast Tom? Now, where East Coast Tom's going to be. Regular dealers who set up month after month, they're going to have the same spot. But like, oh, hey, this dealer's going to be there this month. He's not there every month. Where's he going to be? Where's Dell going to be? Where's Dell's bargain boxes going to be? And you get on the app and say, oh, here's where Dell's going to be. By the way, Dell won't be here this month. I'm just using him as an example. But what if that dealer can't make it? It's like, oh, he's not there. Or you have somebody else and you have to, all of a sudden it's like a game of Tetris. Well, this guy isn't going to be here and this guy wants an extra table. So now we're going to have to move this guy that you were looking for on the app. And, it's like, ideally you want to put, like what they have to offer. Wouldn't it be cool? Almost like a little marketplace, Madison Card Show marketplace. I did have a platform reach out to me about that. One that I've never really talked about. I have used. I've used a couple times. Reached out and wanted to do a Madison Card Show marketplace on their platform. And I know how things work. It's like all your dealers can put all their stuff on there. And, if people can't make the show, they can buy from them on the app. And it's like, well, on paper, it sounds like a great idea, but in practice, are they going to, now you're herding cats and you've got 100 different dealers and some of them aren't tech savvy. Some of them may not want to do that. Some of them may not update it. So, and there's just all kinds, and then it looks unprofessional. So, and then I was talking with somebody who Mascot, who did card show maps. And when I talked to Ezra at the Spectacular in Chicago in November, that's like one thing, he's interested in getting my inventory using his platform, and I'm interested in the card show app. So I talked to him, and so they had an exclusive with was it with Fanatics? I think they ended up going into an exclusive on the card show side, which I'm like, okay. And it didn't really work out, and we didn't really get into it. But I'm assuming it probably didn't work out because of what we're talking about. There's just too much fluidity at a card, especially when you're down to like the monthly card shows where it's we're a bunch of weekend warriors for the most part. And it's $60 a table, whereas at the National or the Chicago Spectacular or Dallas, Burbank, some of these big shows, you're in a contract and you're paying a few hundred, a couple hundred, whatever it might be for a booth space, and you're going to be there. Like, you don't want to miss. It's like you wake up tired. Well, I can miss the Madison Card Show. Don't do that. But there have been cases of that. Now, if you're setting up at the National, are you going to wake up? I just don't want to do the National this year. You're not going to do that. You're more committed. So that's my card show talk for the morning. It is Friday. It's the free-for-all. So we're going to play Name That Player a little later in the show. And we're going back to back to the roots of how Name That Player started. I've got a pack of cards, and it's still January. Actually, we've got one more. The calendar for 2025, we've got like an extra. It seems like we've got more weekends this year than because I'm looking at the calendar throughout the year. It's like, oh wow, I can do this, I can do that, I can do that, scheduling wise for the card show. So we've got an extra weekend this month. We're going back to the roots, and we've got some old Pro Set cards. So just how we started Name That Player, by just opening a random pack of cards, and it was usually junk wax. And since it's junk wax January, I'm like, you know what? Junk wax January. We've got the championship games this weekend, NFC, AFC championship games. Let's run it back, junk wax January, and let's go old school how we started Name That Player. Plus, I didn't have to compile 13, 14 cards this morning, as I'm already running late, although not as late as I have been. 7, I think we went on 7:20 this morning, which isn't too bad. It's not like 8:30 like the other day. So by the way, yesterday I did add a whole bunch of new inventory to my eBay store, 99centcards.com. Buy 7 or more cards at regular price, you'll save 25% off at checkout. That's for buy it now items only. I did add several hundred more cards to the store yesterday. So check those out. I finished what I had uploaded into Card Dealer Pro on Cubs, on the Cubs side. So all the Cubs cards, but I've still got half a box of Cubs. I added a bunch of autographs from my recent auction buy. So those are loaded in my eBay store. So check all that out, 99centcards.com. And don't forget, you'll save 25% when you buy 7 or more items at regular price. I also had an idea, and I've had this idea in the past. We always complain about, oh, my sales are down. Why are my sales down? And usually it's because we're not adding stuff. We're not stroking the algorithm within eBay. But this week I have been stroking that algorithm. And it's almost like the more I list and the more I play around inside eBay, it's like the less and less I sell this week. And I'm coming off where I wasn't stroking the eBay algorithm all weekend last week. And I had okay sales for being away. I had okay sales. Tuesday was a good day. Tuesday's an auction day. Wednesday was below average. Yesterday was basically an outlier. Yesterday was an absolutely brutal day. Terrible. It was an outlier. It was by far the lowest sales day of the last 30 days. And why is that? I've added over 1,000 cards to my store this week, and some decent stuff. It's not like I'm adding a bunch of junk. Yeah, I've added a bunch of. If you're a Cardinals fan, where's Porter at? You Cardinals fans, you'd say, well, you've added a whole bunch of Cubs junk. So it's kind of, now some of that stuff has sold, but it's like $1.75 stuff. So that's not gonna push up the bottom line, right? But I had an idea, and it's like, so what's going on? Like, usually 99, maybe 95, maybe 90% of the time, it's our own fault. So what have I done that could trigger the algorithm in a negative way? What have I done? Now, we know last weekend I was at Cubs convention. I was not in eBay. I was not shipping anything. I was not listing anything. I was not sending out offers. And all of that leads to, well, you're not doing anything, so we're not going to pump you up. So I understand that. But I get back, and all of a sudden I'm stroking that algorithm. and I'm listing and I'm shipping and I'm sending offers and all that in just crickets. So what is happening? I still think it's my fault. It's not eBay. I'm not going to blame eBay, but I do think I know, and I've had this happen in the past where I've had just a shit day. And it's almost like eBay turns my store off. They're like, nope, you're on vacation mode today. We're turning the lights off in your eBay store. Come back tomorrow. And I feel like that's what happened yesterday. And hopefully it's not an extended vacation that eBay's placing me on. Here's what I think's going on. And this kind of goes hand in hand with a comment we had in the chat yesterday about items not received. And so I had an item not received case. And this is like the second one they've opened. The first time they opened it, it was back on, I don't know, January 8th, 9th. And the tracking said on January 7th, it was out for delivery. So they opened a case on like January 9th. And I'm like, well, it's out for delivery. So I just uploaded the tracking and let it go. And I figured, well, it must have got delivered because I didn't hear anything back. All of a sudden, I just get bombarded because this transaction was, I think, 21 cards. And so when you open and this is what is my peeve with eBay. And I understand why they do it, but I don't like it. So you have to open an item not received claim on every single item within the transaction, which is a giant pain in the ass for both the buyer and me, the seller. Now, why do they do it? Well, if you ordered 20 cards and you didn't get one of them, like you don't want to open an item not received case, ideally. If you're on the up and up, you're not going to open an item not received case on the entire 20 card order. Like, hey, I didn't get this 1978 Davy Lopes card. Like, oh, I must have missed it. I'll either get it in the mail or I'll issue a refund if I misplaced it or didn't, put it in somebody else's package. So that's why I understand they do it. But it's like if it's lost in the mail, says it's been out for delivery for 3 weeks, the entire order is lost. Like, I wish there was an option where it's like, I didn't receive the entire order. Like, just click a button. Like, I didn't receive everything. So I think I also had a return. I talked about this yesterday, the day before. Mariano Rivera was in the news for naughty stuff and or being allegedly knowing about naughty stuff and not doing anything about it, not reporting it. So somebody opened a return on a Mariano Rivera card. They don't want it in their collection. So I had a return opened. I had 21 items not received open, and that looks bad. And I'm sure the eBay algorithm says, well, this guy is not doing his part as a good eBay salesman. He's got 21 items not received. He's got a return. What the hell's going on in this guy's store? Where in reality, it's a couple transactions. So I think, and I've seen instances in the past where I've had like more than average amount of items not received cases open. And all of a sudden it has anecdotally affected my sales on eBay. So that could be why. Now, is that my fault? Technically, no. Like 21 items not received, it's basically it is one order. But in eBay's eyes, they think it's 21 different items not received. Am I delivering the mail? No, but it is us as sellers. It is our responsibility to make sure our customers receive their items one way or another. That's just, if you're selling on eBay, you can't play the blame game and be like, you can't message the buyer and be like, well, that's UPS or USPS's problem now. You can't do that. You can, but it's not the right thing to do. You just have to grin and bear it. So what did I do in this case? Somebody asked yesterday, and I said, well, it depends. There's so many, to truly answer a question. What do you do when somebody opens an item or says they haven't received it? What do you do? And it depends. What's the situation? What's the circumstance? In this situation, this buyer didn't receive his order. It says it was out for delivery on January 7th. I think this buyer did the right thing. He waited a couple days. He waited until January 9th, opened up a claim, items not received, the entire order. Had to do it individually. And then I had to go in, upload tracking to each frickin' order. Says, well, it's out for delivery. It'll be there. It'll be there. And it wasn't. So fast forward 2 weeks to this week. And all of a sudden he's escalates it back. Still haven't got him. So what did I do? So what do I do in this situation? Now, it's not like it was a $5-6 order. This was a $50 order. So I'm going to do my due diligence to make sure I don't lose out on $50. Now, here's the thing. With Ground Advantage, you have insurance. I've never had to use Ground Advantage insurance before until now. I did file a claim yesterday. So I'm just going to go see if there's been any movement. So the first thing I did, this person, so in this situation, this scenario, the buyer says, hey, I still haven't got it. Still, post office still says it's out for delivery. It's lost. So now it's on me, the seller. Like I have to do something, whether it's just issue a refund, file a missing mail claim, but I've got till like today's the deadline and I've got to get something done. So basically I could be out $50 very easily in this situation. So what I did, they opened the second claim. I look into it. Okay. It still says it's out for delivery. What's the next step I take? I go to USPS website and I go to missing mail and I type in the tracking number on missing mail claim, tracking number. And it says, I wonder, can I bring up, it's probably in my email. So basically USPS is like, and I think this is probably why they're just doing freaking insurance now. USPS confirmation. Okay, so here's my confirmation. Thank you for contacting USPS and taking the time to share your concerns with us. Your inquiry has been forwarded. So this was sent at what time? Right at noon yesterday. So at 13 minutes later, this message is to let you know that we have received your inquiry at the United States Postal Service. After we review and investigate the information you have provided, we will contact you and work with you until the issue is resolved. And that was sent at 12:13. All right. So at 12:13. So then at 12:22, they work fast, man. Thank you for contacting the United States Postal Service. I regret learning of the inconvenience you have experienced. After doing our investigation, that was one damn fast investigation. Less than 22 minutes. After doing our investigation, we are having a hard time locating the package, and it has been more than 15 days, and we still haven't located it. Please contact the original sender, which was me, and they will have to put in a claim on your behalf with the post office, and it will be up to them to issue a refund or replacement item. Although an apology, blah, 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 blah. So that, so in basically 20 minutes or less, I was told you're shit out of luck. So I'm going to go back and just to see if there's been any movement on the tracking number. But I've got to resolve this today. So I did open a missing mail claim. They said nothing, we can't find it. It's lost. So then so then I went back to USPS and filed an insurance claim, which I think you can do on the screen. Or maybe it's not on the screen. So yeah, so basically tracking history. It was so January 6th. It arrived at the Minneapolis distribution center. On January 7th at 4:06 a.m., it departed the regional facility, and then it arrived at a USPS facility in Minneapolis at 4:20 a.m. An hour later at 5:33 a.m., it arrived at the post office in Minneapolis. At 6:10 a.m., it must have been loaded on a truck. It was out for delivery on January 7th at 6:10 a.m. And then that night at 9:16 p.m., it was still awaiting delivery. And that's the last update. So maybe the mailman just said, fuck it, I'm done. And took all his packages, and he's got $50 worth of baseball cards. So now what do I do? So I opened an insurance claim with USPS. Through Ground Advantage, I think it's $100 on Ground Advantage. This was, I think it was like $48. If it was a couple bucks, I don't know if I would take the time to file a claim and go through all that. It's like, you spend 20, 30 minutes to get your $1.75 back. Is it worth it? No. But for $48, I'm going to take my time. So yesterday I filed the claim. It was actually a fairly quick process. So I had to upload a couple photos and blah, 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 put all my information in, and sent that off. Hopefully they'll side and say, here's your money. And I think they send you a check. What is this? 1984. I think they send you a check in the mail. Hopefully that doesn't get lost. So now that I've submitted that, there's basically nothing else I can do. So now I have to go in and issue the refund and just keep my fingers crossed that the United States Postal Service will come through with my refund. So we'll see. I'm not optimistic that I'll see my $48, but it is what it is. And sometimes that's what happens when you're dealing with third parties. And I did this in transportation for 8 years. And sometimes when you're the broker, you're shit out of luck in some instances. Obviously, you fight for it, and depending on the dollar value, you escalate it. And in some instances, you take somebody to court. Now, we're talking $48. That's not going to happen. But if it was like $48,000, well, then you've got a case. When I was working in transportation, I took over an account from a previous salesman. And my first day with this account, it was a beer load, and it had to be set between like 36 and 40 degrees, I think. And it wasn't. And it gets to the distributor, I think in Indiana, somewhere in Indiana, and the distributor rejects it, says warm beer. It's got to be between 36 and 40 degrees. So they do the temp checks. And so it was like 50, I think it was like 50 grand. It was somewhere in that vicinity. Expensive beer. Most beer's cheap. But not the craft beer. And so in that case, so it was a fight. So it's like, we had to get all the paperwork from the carrier, and the carrier's like, no, we've got the checks and all that and blah, blah, blah. So the carrier's fighting it. So in some instances, like in transportation, it's like, okay, well, there's a claim against you for 50 grand. We're just going to take it off you're basically going to be hauling $50,000 worth of freight for free. Depending on, what the value amount is. And so that's the easiest way. So you don't have to get insurance companies involved. So we got the insurance company involved on this one because they were fighting it. And then we had to escalate it, had to go to court. I had to reach out to my client. Like, I've had this client for like a freaking day, and I'm having to get all of these statements and from this client. And, weeks, months go by. I'm trying to develop a rapport and a relationship with this new client. And here I'm asking, can you show up at court in Chicago on February 1st? No, I just want my money. And they got their money, so they don't care. Like, I'm not spending an entire day going to court over this when I already got my money. So, and that's the bullshit that sometimes when you're the middleman you have to deal with. Now, fortunately, on a $48 baseball card package, I don't have to deal with that. So we'll see. This is my first attempt at an insurance claim through USPS. I've never had to go through USPS for an insurance claim. Now, ESE is different. It's a third party. It's not U.S. Postal Service. That's pretty easy. It can be a little time consuming, but it's easy and you get your money like usually within 24 hours. I have a feeling USPS will drag this out. We'll see. So hopefully that's not the case, but it's ironic that somebody brought that up in the chat yesterday. Like, what do you do if somebody says they don't receive their stuff? And it's hard to answer that question without like a specific example. And then all of a sudden one fell into my lap yesterday. So that's how I've been dealing with this particular. This is kind of, I would say on the extreme, but not really on the extreme. I'm sure this happens a lot more frequently than we think. Fortunately, it does. Like, again, my first time with a ground advantage claim or whatever. So anyway, happy Friday. We haven't got to the chat yet. Here I am rambling on about the post office. Let's go to the chat, see what's hanging. Kyle's in the house. He's coming to Madison tomorrow. Hope to see you there. Gem City Card Show is here. Where's your hat? I don't know. I didn't feel like going upstairs to grab a hat. I don't have any product. Oh. So just running raw dogging it today. Peter, happy free for all Friday. Red Light 34 is in the house. Good morning. Tracy's here. Good morning. Third straight day of e-learning down here. Haven't seen students in person since last Friday, end of the semester. Wild. That is crazy. Red Light 34 says, congrats on the Goodwill pallet. Yes, another Goodwill pallet has been secured. My 23rd Goodwill pallet. This is a big one. And this one ended up costing, after tax, this one was $900. And I'm hoping they charge by the weight, although they stopped showing what the weight is. So I'm sure I'm getting less than I used to. But it's like, I'm going to, basically it's like, well, what's the price point you're going to stop buying? And I shouldn't even say this. What if they're listening? They're like, well, we're just going to charge this. This is the most he'll pay. This is what we're going to charge. So there's a number that I have in mind, and it keeps creeping closer and closer to that number. And, but that number may come down. I had a string of a few pallets in the fall that were pretty damn good. Jeter SP rookie, Mike Trout blue refractor auto. There was a Tom Brady rookie. There was some other stuff that was nice. There was Gronkowski and Aaron Hernandez autos, rookie autos. So there was a string of good stuff. Now, my last pallet was a dud. Now, if this one is also a dud, then I'm going to have to, like, okay, do I take another gamble? And I probably will. But if it's basically 3 strikes and you're out. So last one was a dud. Now, am I still going to make my money on it? Yes. And I hope to make my money even at $900. I hope to make my money back. It's going to take a little longer, maybe, unless there's another Mike Trout autograph in there. That help. But if it's a dud, I'll probably swing for a third one. And if that's a miss, then I'll probably just stop buying them, because it's like, it's a gamble. I mean, it's a better, in my opinion, in my experience, it's a better and more fun gamble than buying a $900 couple hobby boxes of Bowman or whatever product. Even Topps, which I ordered a case of Topps on pre-sale. So we'll see. Zach and Porter says the horse show was not fun. Oh, yes, we ran up against the horse show. Hey, speaking of shows, Bratfest 2025 was announced. The lineup was announced. I will not be able to attend Bratfest. The Madison Card Show will not be the same weekend as Bratfest, which is Memorial Day weekend. I'll be in Florida for a wedding. There's an extra weekend in May also. So the May Card Show in Madison is May 31st, right after Memorial Day. Bratfest 2025 lineup. Ace Frehley from Kiss will be on stage. Steven Adler of Guns N' Roses will be on stage. And I don't like Kiss. Kiss is the most overrated band in the history of music. But what I was excited about was some 90s rap in my opinion, most people are like, who? Ski Low. And I remember going to the mall back when malls were a thing. I think I was in 7th grade. Went to the mall, South Park Mall, Moline, Illinois. And I went to Sam Goody or Music Land or whatever the hell music store it was at the time. And I got Ski Low, I Wish, the single. I wish I was a little bit taller. I wish I was a baller. I wish I had a rabbit and a hat. Something, something, something. Ski Low, I Wish. And that same shopping trip, I also bought Gangster's Paradise or Gangsta's Paradise, Coolio from the Dangerous Mind soundtrack. So Ski Low is going to be on stage at Bratfest this year. And the Quad City DJs, come on, ride that train. And who is the other one I'm missing? Oh, Digital Underground. The Humpty Dance is your chance to do the hump. Digital Underground, Ski Low, Quad City DJs. And I think all 3 of those acts will be on Sunday at Bratfest. And unfortunately, I won't be here to see it. So Bratfest 2025. Jody is here. Good morning. L1C's in the house. The dedicated guys will just park on Lake Monona. What could go wrong? There you go. Zach and Porter says you must be swimming in money with that table increase. We are. I like Scrooge McDuck, baby. Hall of Fame card collector Mikey in the house. What's up? Philly Joe is here. Good morning. Brian says apps are great until they're not. Ain't that the truth? Dan is here. What's happening, Dan? Andy Max in the house. Good morning. Spam's here. What's happening? Red Light 34 says hello to Zach and Porter. Dat dude from Duryea. What's happening? Zach says hi back. Brian says nice hair. Thank you. Good morning. Tracy says another Goodwill pallet, number 23. Michael Jordan. Hey, Michael Jordan's number. Maybe we get nice little Jordan in there. Yeah, Goodwill pallet number 23. It's like a hawk or not an eagle. Maybe an owl just flew by. Good morning, Scott. JK Cards in the house. Good morning. Max says boo. Offbeat All-Stars is here. Good morning. Orlando's in the house. What's happening? Vince, the sports card ripping teacher, says, have you started ice fishing on your pond? Oh, no. I wouldn't even know what to do. No. There's been some hockey games on the pond. So that's kind of cool. Just watch out. I don't go out. I just watch from the warmth inside. There's been some hockey games. I haven't seen any ice fishers out there though. Gem City says, did Mariano hold the baby oil bottle? He might have. I don't think those details have been released, but could be. Uncle Rich is in the house. What's happening? That dude from Duryea says, has the action on your auctions gone stagnant during the downturn in your store sales? That's tough to answer because I haven't really put good stuff at auction per se. And I've done less auctions over the last week to week and a half, which that's on me. I haven't been putting as good of auctions in my store or as many auctions. So my auctions are definitely down, but that's completely my fault. And that's what I'm doing. Now, could that be leading to slower sales in my store? I don't think so, because like my numbers are lower than what they were, the last few days. Now it's also January. I had a shitty January last year. But the last, some of the few days, now Tuesday was an outlier. I had a good day on Tuesday, but some of the other days is lower than, what my average was pre-auction. John Jay's in the house. What's up? It is the free-for-all Friday. Eric says, the exact same happened in my store when USPS didn't deliver about 20 envelopes earlier this month, partially due to weather and holidays. They are starting to deliver now, but are all showing late. Isn't that a bitch? That's a pain. Since they showed late on the tracking, my store has tanked. Yeah. I think that can be a reason why some of the sales, and of course that's on an individual basis, what could be happening. Because I have seen this happen in the past where it's like all of a sudden I get a bunch of not received claims and all of a sudden, where's my sales? I get a daily update of my mail from the post office. eBay showed something was delivered last Friday. It was not in my daily mail update until Tuesday. It did not actually show up in my mailbox until Thursday. Yeah, and we're depending on the USPS, which I'd be okay. Just don't tell me it's going to be there on Friday and it doesn't get there until the next Thursday. Like, just tell me it's running late and it's not going to get there until next Thursday. Don't lie to me. The seller actually contacted me on Monday asking if I would leave positive feedback. I told him I will when I get the card. There you go. Rabbit hole, what's happening? Nice hair. Thank you. Legit haven't seen you without a hat in years. Really? Well, in person, I always wear a hat. Like if I'm going to a card show, I always wear a hat. But on here, usually I've got some product in my hair. Myrtle says, he looks like Jerry getting a haircut from the other barber. Sports card ripping teacher says, I thought it was free for all Friday. Sounds like Unsolved Mysteries meets Matlock. Andy Mack laughs. Cliff wound up at Cheers. Michael Renicky, good morning. Michael Renicky, he'll be set up tomorrow at the Madison Card Show. John Maybe says, Jerry, you should check whether Newman is stashing your mail in your storage unit again. Poppy will find out. Mikey says, this happens to me too with ESE. It's so annoying. I agree. Brian, Offbeat All-Star, says 2 phone interviews today, not much else. Going to list a few cards and organize my beer alcohol cards. There you go. That sounds like a good day. Johnny M says, good morning. When that occasionally happens, I just chuck it up to the cost of doing business. I'm willing to bet that $50 won't be life-altering to you. No, it's not. But I'm running a business, so $50 is $50. Mikey says, ESE refunds actually refund plus fees, so you actually get more money when packages get lost than delivered. I didn't realize that. Merle says, knock on wood, I haven't had a lost package for a long time. I'm small volume, though. Looks like some empty space in the showcase on the wall. Did a cat burglar strike? No. I took some of those out. One is my card. One was the Santo that it's like, I'll trade this if somebody wants it. I still have it. What else? So let's see. Santo, my card, and is there another card missing? I think there's 3 cards missing. So I'll just have to put them back in. Mikey says they go by the total order price. Johnny M says, I've never lost a package lost claim as long as tracking showed it not delivered. Only had about 3 in 25 years. Gundy in the house. The Eau Claire Midwest Regional Card Show starts today, runs through Sunday. I'll be attending Saturday and Sunday. Have fun. Mikey says, I really need to tonight do ESE claims. I have hundreds of dollars probably the last few months that I can submit. Holy moly. Mr. Archer is here. What's happening? Kyle says, do you think parking will be a problem early? Oh, God, no. No, not at 7:15. I mean, it's still probably, you might have to walk from the end of the parking lot with, a lot of dealers parking, but no, I think the parking situation now, knock on wood, fingers crossed, I don't think the parking situation will get really bad until you're getting closer to 9-10 o'clock. And then I think that's when it's going to be pretty damn full. But for dealers, it should be okay. You may have to park further than normal. But that's okay. What's a single and why would you go anywhere to buy it? What's a single and why would you go anywhere to buy it? I don't know what that means. Max, LeBron's number. Victor, happy weekend. What's up, Victor? What is a Jerry and a Newman? Mikey says they send the refund money to PayPal. Yes. Yep. The ESC claims go to PayPal. Post office apparently is a check. All right, let's play Name That Player. We're going old school today, old school in a couple ways. We're going old school in terms of the pack we're opening, and we're going old school in terms of how Name That Player started. Now, if you're new to the program, when we started playing Name That Player, it was only opening packs. It was opening packs, and then, okay, here's 1987 tops, and it was all 1987 tops. And then we started just doing piles of cards, and then we got real cute with it. So now we're going back to our roots, because I found this, and I think this might have came in the last Goodwill pallet that I bought. 1990 Pro set. And it's football championship weekend. We've got the NFC and AFC championship. I forget who is playing this weekend. Is it the Rams? Who's in the NFC? Rams, Eagles? Is that the NFC? And then AFC is Bills, Chiefs. Bills, Chiefs. So when are those games? Are those both Sunday? Or do we have Saturday games? I can't remember. Before we start playing Name That Player, Card Collector has a question. He says, since I know you're very knowledgeable on pricing cards, how would you go about pricing a 1-of-1? I trust your expertise. So it depends on what it is. Basically, if there's probably not going to be any comps on your specific 1-of-1. So say it's 2025 tops. Say it's a printing plate. Say it's who's a current player? Say it's a Juan Soto printing plate. I look at, or let's say it's 2024. So at least maybe there's some comps. So it's 2024 tops. I'd look at other printing plates from 2024 tops. And, if there's only been a couple sold and they're Jan Gomes and I don't know, Justin Steele, Juan Soto is going to command more. So you just kind of go from there. It's like, well, the Justin Steele sold for $20. Maybe Juan Soto is $100 because printing plates aren't that sought after. So you just kind of go by that, or use the same set. What have Juan Soto 1-of-1s cost? Now, if it's a superfractor, it's not going to be, if you pull a printing plate, a superfractor is not a fair comparison. I look at other printing plates from the same set, or if that's not available, I'll look at what are similar 1-of-1s for this specific player. So that's kind of how I go about pricing 1-of-1s or of 5s. Let's see. Oh, Commanders. That's right. Washington. Thank you, Rich. Commanders and Eagles. Card Collector pulled my first 1-of-1 yesterday from a Topps Chrome F1 box. No clue how to grade it. So, yeah, I'm not as familiar with F1. I basically just look at, and I couldn't even tell you who, I know there's Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen, whatever his name is. The other racers, I have no idea. So I'd basically just look at what have other 1-of-1 sold from that specific set and go from there. Max and Bradley. There you go. Sunday only on the championship games. All that matters is Patty. Uncle Rich says, hit that like button. So 1-of-1 of Max Verstappen, Black Ray Wave. So I'd look at other Max Verstappens or Stappens, however you pronounce his name, and go from there. Kind of what Max says here. Look up the card, look up similar of said player, look up similars from the same set. There you go. Let's see. Where are we at? There you go. Check out the other 1-of-1s. Card Hobbyist, he's made it. It's Junk Wax January. Welcome back. We got 1990 Pro set on the docket today. F-bomb. Shane says $800 to $1,000 ish. Took me 30 seconds to comp. There you go. Option on the 1-of-1 is to auction it. You are welcome. Nice pull, yes. All right, let's play some Name That Player. Here is the leaderboard. Max with 16 points. Michael Renicky with 11. Matt Like has 9. Uncle Rich with 8. Scotty Dubs has 7. Card Hobbyist, he's back. He and Dave Arnold have 6 points apiece, and Peter has 5. There's the rest of your scoreboard. Name That Player. It is 1990 Pro Set. Got a Goodwill pallet yesterday. Now I won't get it until next week, but I bought one yesterday, and I think this is where this is the all right. So, hey, we're starting off with a Hall of Famer. I think it's bookend Hall of Famers, actually. But what do I know about the Hall of Fame? Shane will be back in March. All right, first up, Hall of Famer. I got to get my YouTube up. We've got some answers. I'll take first or last name on this, or I'll take last name or first and last name on this. All right, first one. It's Bruce Smith, by the way. Michael Renicky. I'll take Bruce. Why the hell not? We'll take Bruce. Michael Renicky with the point. Bruce Smith. Are there any other Hall of Famers named Bruce? There probably are. So we'll give it, if anybody has a problem with me giving, he followed up with Smith. Michael Renicky. If anybody has a big problem with that, drop it in the chat. Let's see. Rich says Bruce should only be used for Springsteen. All right, next up, we got a lot of Pro Bowlers, back-to-back Pro Bowlers. All right, Pro Bowlers. All right, Pro Bowl. Los Angeles Rams Pro Bowler. It's not Bruce Matthews. Oh, Bruce Matthews is a Hall of Famer named Bruce. I see what you did there. It is not Henry Ellard. It's not Dickerson or Slater. All right, I do need, by the way, I do need proper spelling on this one. Because there's an answer in there that's really close. And that's what I thought. It is not Cleveland Gary. It's Gray. And that's why I needed complete spelling. Because Cleveland Gary and Jerry Gray both played for the Rams at the same time. Michael Renicky got Gray. So I'm glad, and SoCal guy, I'm glad you put Cleveland Gary, so that crossed out any questioning of the spelling. All right, so Michael Renicky with another point, making a run. We got another Pro Bowler coming up. All right. This one's easy. This is a gimme. This one's a gimme. The Eagles, they're playing in the championship game this weekend. Rest in peace to this guy. You don't need any clues because his name's on the back of the jersey. It's Reggie White. Reggie White. And I think Michael Renicky was fastest again. It's basically a battle between Michael and Card Hobbyist on who has the fastest internet. Michael's winning this battle. Reggie White. Michael Renicky is 3 for 3. He knows his 90 Pro Set. 14 points for Michael Renicky. All right, next up, Minnesota Vikings. Now, this is not a gimme. Not a gimme. I'll take, I won't take first name on this. I'll take last name. Let's see. 50 is the jersey number, but not his name. It's not Gary Zimmerman. Wow, Michael Renicky. It is Ray Berry. Ray Berry. Michael Renicky must have his 1990 Pro Set binder in his lap. And Michael Renicky is 1 point from Max at the top of the leaderboard. All right, next up. We got a quarterback. Cardinals quarterback. I'll let some answers come in. Oh, we've got an answer. It's an alliterative name. Tommy Tupa. That dude from Duryea. Oh, Max is crying now. Max is crying. It doesn't fit his narrative, so he's going to go in the corner and wah. Max, little crybaby Max. Tom Tupa. That dude from Duryea. All right, next up, Packers. Where's the Packers at? Uh-oh, and Michael Renicky's a Packers fan too. All right, next up, Packers. '91 is the jersey number, but we'll need a name. Brian Noble. Max with the point. Brian Noble. Yes. Max extends the lead. He knows his 90 Pro Set. All right, next up. Now you can't complain anymore. Now you got a point. No more complaining. All right, next up, Atlanta Falcons. Next up is Atlanta Falcons. Last name only on this one. I mean, if you want to put the first name in, but you have to have the last name. It is not Deion Sanders. It is not Andre Rison. It is not Jenkins. It is Michael Renicky. Michael Haynes. Michael Renicky with the point. 16 points. All right, next up. This is ironic. Next up. Couldn't have planned that better. There it is. It's Andre Rison. I think Card Hobbyist beat him to the punch. Card Hobbyist with the point. Andre Rison. Michael second. Rich third. All right. Andre Rison, Card Hobbyist, and you are now tied with Scotty Dubs. Bad mood Rison. All right. Seahawks. We got an offensive lineman here. Not Steve Largent. Not Cortez Kennedy. Not Mike Tice. Michael Renicky. I wasn't going to give it to you. Michael Renicky's now just toying with you all. Andy Heck. Michael Renicky, playing games. Still gets the point. And he is now tied at the top of the leaderboard. 17 each for Max and Michael. Both dealers at the Madison Card Show, by the way. All right, next up, Dallas Cowboys wide receiver also played for the Bears. Actually played for the Bears right before his days in Dallas. We're going with the guy catching the ball, by the way. The guy catching the ball. McKinnon is correct. Uncle Rich with the point. Dennis McKinnon. Dennis McKinnon. Uncle Rich. And he is now tied with Matt Like. Matt Like must not be here because I know Matt is a big Junk Wax football. He would be in on these. All right, next up. Another wide receiver. This is a tough one. Ooh, we've got a couple. We've got back-to-back tough ones. Actually, we're not going to do that. One of those. I think we got 4 left. This is a tough one. Pittsburgh Steelers rookie wide receiver. Oh, wow. Michael Renicky. Derek Hill is correct. Wow. Derek Hill. Michael Renicky has taken the lead. 18 points. Moving on up. All right. So we've got 3 left. All right. So we will do that one. We will do that one. All right. This one's the next couple are tough. Another rookie card here. Houston Oilers rookie. He was a defensive end. Played football at Miami. Hurricanes. It is not Deshaun. It is not Hopkins or Smith. It is Pagusi. Close enough on the spelling. I think he only missed a letter in there. There's a U. Oh, a U and an E. There's an extra E in there. U-E-S-E. Willis Pagusi. Michael Renicky on a roll. All right. And that's 19. All right. Next up, another rookie card. Last rookie card. Philadelphia Eagles. He was a safety. Very common last name, but I'll accept the last name. Or Michael Renicky can just show off. Michael Renicky showing off with first and last name of Ben Smith. Ben Smith. Michael Renicky with 20. We got 2 cards left. All right, next up, I don't even have to use the, we're looking at the Patriots. This is going to be the Patriots player. The New England Patriots player. Not the Oiler, but the Patriot here. Who is that New England Patriot? It is not Andre Tippett. Nor is it Irving Fryer or Fred Marion. It is not David Meggett. It is not Jeff Herrod. It is not Tippett, not Fryer. It is not Stevens. Defensive back, New England Patriots. Not Outlaw, not Jones. It's not Tim Brady. It's not Tom Brady either. It's not Robinson. Michael Renicky doesn't have a clue. Peter with the point. It's Maurice Hurst. And he was a name that I'm like, I think somebody's going to get this. Somebody did get it. Maurice Hurst. Maurice Hurst. Peter with the point. All right. We've got 1 left. And this one's kind of a gimme. Peter is now tied with Dave with 6 points each. All right. Raiders quarterback. It's not Emmitt Smith. It's not Joe Montana. It's not Rich Gannon. It is, though, Jim Plunkett. Jim Plunkett. Michael Renicky with the fastest fingers. Jim Plunkett. All right. So Michael Renicky with another point, and he improves to 21 points. We had a little bit of movement in the standings. Up top, Michael takes a 4-point lead with 21 points over Max's 17. Matt Like and Uncle Rich tied at third place with 9 points apiece. Scotty Dubs in fifth with a tie, 7 points each with Card Hobbyist. Dave Arnold and Peter each have 6 points. Dat Dude from Duryea has 5. Shane has 3 with SoCal Guy. Scott Hermanson, John Maybe, and L1C with 2 points apiece. And with 1 point each, we've got Philly Joe, Unicorn Cupcake, Christian Anderson, Spam Likely, and Jason VT Sports Guy. So there you go. Name that player. We'll do this again next Friday. And we'll do a mix. We'll have modern, we'll have vintage, we'll have junk wax next Friday for Name That Player. Michael says he was bribed $60, but will give me the table fee free tomorrow. No free tables. Let's see. Max says, glad I'm not the only one. Bo probably needed some showcases. Merle says, go Bills. I love me some Josh Allen. Bills and Chiefs this weekend. I think I'm pulling for, I really don't care, but I'm probably pulling for the Chiefs, but I really don't care. Eagles, Commanders, I don't know. Maybe pulling for the Eagles, but again, I don't mind. If any of the teams, like I'm not going to be disappointed with any of the 4 teams that are left to make the Super Bowl. I think it'll be a good game no matter what. Orlando says, tomorrow, Hobby Hotline, me and Rich. Very cool. Check out Orlando and Uncle Rich on Hobby Hotline tomorrow. Obviously, there will not be Hobby Evolution tomorrow morning. It's the Madison Card Show tomorrow at the Sheraton Hotel on John Nolan Drive. 140 sold-out dealer tables. Show hours, 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Free admission. And again, parking might be limited later in the morning. If you can't find a parking spot, there is paid parking across the street. And there will be shuttle service from that parking lot to the Sheraton. Parking is $8. There is no parking validated. You're just going to have to spend $8, but you don't have to spend any money to get in. So if you really want to come, if you don't want to spend $8, I understand. If you can't find a parking spot, hopefully it doesn't come to that. Hopefully you can find parking. Tomorrow, Sheraton Hotel, John Nolan Drive, Madison Card Show. Uncle Rich says, Orlando and I on Hobby Hotline tomorrow. May be hard to get a word in with Mr. Newman, though. Max says, go Patty and anybody but the Eagles. Go Skins for Midwest Tom. Oh, yeah. Maybe I'll root for Washington for East Coast Tom. Alrighty. Hit the like button if you haven't already. Subscribe to the channel. Visit the eBay store, 99centcards.com. Whole bunch of new inventory added this week. Check it out, 99centcards.com. No Hobby Evolution tomorrow. We'll see you at the Madison Card Show. We'll be back Sunday morning, probably around 8:30 Central Time, Sunday morning to review the Madison Card Show. So if I don't see you tomorrow, I'll see you Sunday. Have a great weekend.